The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Reaper Apparel Company. Reaper Apparel offers a casual line of superb fit, finish, and comfort. We design for those who refuse to die slowly and choose to live untamed. For those who aren't afraid to face the dark, for the ones that thrive in it, and for those who can appreciate life through a grim lens. That's Reaper Apparel Company. Go to the link in the description of this episode, use the promo code Mike Bono, and get 10% off. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by my own personal merch store, the Stupid Should Hurt merch store. I have hats, I have t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, water bottles, notebooks, you name it, I've got it. The description and the link for that will be in the description of this episode. Also, right now, if you use the promo code WELCOME, I will give you 5% off of your first purchase. That's the Stupid Should Hurt merch store. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Tactical Brotherhood, all American-made apparel, which helps support the Second Amendment. You can also find all this in the description of this episode with the link, Tactical Brotherhood. Part of every proceed does go to helping veterans, as it is a very good cause. All American-made products made right here in Minnesota. Go and check them out. Use the promo code PATRIOT15 to get 15% off your purchase. Now, let's start the show.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. This is, as always, your host, Mike Bono. I have a great episode for us today, but first and foremost, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Buddy's Beard Care. Buddy's Beard Care is a beard care company that is based out of Ohio. I don't know why. I'm going to redo this read because I'd lost the read when I was clicking out of stuff. But yeah, Buddy's Beard Care provides premium men's grooming products at an affordable price. Products are made in Ohio, and Buddy's Beard Care supports local. The majority of their suppliers are from other Ohio-based companies. You could find them online on social media at Buddy's Beard Care or online at buddysbeardcare.com. Use the promo code Bono15 and he will save you 15% off of your purchase. I have been using these products for the better part of 6 months now. My beard has never grown faster. It has never felt healthier. And according to my wife, it has never felt softer. So yeah, again, buddysbeardcare.com, promo code Bono15. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by a former guest of the show and Matt Landowski in Sweet Hand Sports. Sweet Hand Sports, elevate your game with Sweet Hand Sports. Our sports gloves are designed for champions, providing ultimate grip and durability. Achieve greatness with every match. Choose Sweet Hand Sports for the winning edge. Grip your victory at sweethandsports.com. Use the promo code Bono10 and he will save you 10%. These aren't just batting gloves anymore. He has started a golf glove line. He sent me a complimentary pair of golf gloves. They are extremely durable, extremely breathable, and the most comfortable golf glove I've ever worn when I got to go out the only time and play golf this year with my busy schedule. But again, sweethandsports.com, promo code Bono10. Lastly, it is brought to you by Deemed Fit. Deemed Fit is a first responder owned and operated clothing company for first responders. It helps with their mental and physical health. Part of every proceed of everything purchased there does go to helping first responders, especially those who worked through COVID. This is a great cause. I'm all for anything that supports first responders. If you use the promo code Mike Bono, they will save you 20%. That's deemedfit.co. Again, promo code Mike Bono to save 20%. I think these promo reads are getting longer and longer with every show. But that being said, my guest today, I've known these two forever. He has been on before. We have his lovely wife with him today too as well. I have Lori and Brandon Spicer joining the show, and we're going to talk everything that they got going on They actually got into the paranormal investigating. I wish we could have had them on during spooky season, but we're getting them on now. So, guys, welcome in.
Hello.
How's it going, man?
It's going good. How have you been? First and foremost, we haven't got to talk in a while.
I've been going good. Staying busy, you know how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I will tell you this. The wife does laugh every time she sees your name pop up on my phone because I still have you in my phone as B Spizzle. I've had it since we worked together.
Yeah, I didn't know that. As long as we've known each other, I had no idea.
You have no.
Fantastic.
I told you that.
Well,
Did you think I was kidding?
No, you've never told me that.
I did tell you that.
I'm that old. Then I forget stuff as soon as you tell me.
Because we were at it was the awards thing for Big Sandy. And we were sitting around and we were talking about everybody's names in their phone. And I was like, I have you in my phone as B Spizzle. And you just kind of laughed and like moved on with whatever we were doing.
It must have just went one ear and out the other, bro. One ear out the other.
Just didn't stick to anything.
Yeah, it didn't stick.
Didn't stick. It's stuck in my phone though. It's still B Spizzle in my
hilarious.
phone.
Yeah, never change
Yeah,
that.
do not change that ever.
I will never change that. It took everything in me not to introduce you as L and B Spizzle. Just so you guys know. It took everything in me not to give you that introduction. But you guys recently got into the paranormal investigating soon. So tell us how you got into that, why you got into that, and how that's been going.
Well,
Gettysburg is kind of that was the catalyst.
That was the big thing. I've always been interested in it. For as long as I can remember.
Oh yeah, even before we got together, we both were into watching the ghost shows
but we took a vacation together, a long overdue vacation together.
Yeah. What's a vacation?
Right? Exactly. And we just took a couple days. I mean, it'd been a very, very long time that her and I just had a couple days. For just us.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, because we always, our typical go-to is Tennessee.
Yep.
Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge. We love that area. We're not real big beach goers, so.
I've never been to the beach.
Right?
Yeah, no, I've never been.
We're trying to figure out something to do. I used to do Civil War reenacting back in the day. I love American history, especially that time period. I love the Civil War era. And I was so damn worried about her not enjoying, going,
I'm not as big into history as he is,
going
but
on to a vacation like that. And I'd never been to Gettysburg, So I was like, man, I would love to go there. And it was a quick, from where we live, about 6 hours, a little less than 6 hour drive.
A little less than 6 hours.
So,
not terrible.
Let's go.
No. Not, and it's a pretty easy drive. The only thing that's rough is you have the turnpike thing that you gotta, but you can set up now ahead of time. So that was nice.
And so we chose Gettysburg, and I mean anybody who knows anything about or is interested at all about paranormal, Gettysburg is supposed to be one of the absolute most haunted places on the planet.
Because of the sheer amount of death just from the war alone.
Yeah.
Right.
That whole area is very, very active.
So
we did a ghost walk. Our first night there, we did a ghost walk, which basically they just took us around town at night and gave us the history of some of the buildings. And then they would tell you like if there were paranormal things that people have experienced, but it was all outdoor. It was still really informative and neat. Got a couple pictures that may or may not look like something is in the window. We took multiples. So the lady that ran it was like, send that to me. I'm not sure. So I don't know if they ever did anything with them.
So, here's the thing. Anytime you're doing an investigation, you always want to be extremely, we believe in the paranormal, but, like I said earlier, everybody thinks, oh my God, everything's haunted.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. But,
I know we were talking about this before we started actually recording here, about people thinking that every place you go to is like all of these TV shows that you
like
see.
Poltergeist Haunted.
Yeah. Extremely objective. And you got to be, I mean, I believe in paranormal for sure, but you got to be scientific about it. You got to be very objective about everything, you know.
Not every sound you hear is from the paranormal.
Exactly.
Houses, you know, houses settling, it's creaking.
Noise, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my God, is that an orb? Or it could just be dust.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
You know?
There's this thing called dust that exists.
Could be a bug. But yeah, so but whenever you're taking your picture, you always want to take them in a series of 3, because if you get something on one picture that's not on the other 2,
you potentially might have something.
Yeah. I know I've seen that a lot where people will take like those burst photos and then they will sift through those. Like, how much weight do you guys hold to pictures?
Yeah. Well, once again, everything's extremely objective. You know, you gotta, even though whatever evidence you get, you still gotta dissect and dissect and dissect.
Yeah,
you still can't believe everything that you're seeing with your eyes and everything that you're hearing with your ears. That's the thing.
Like what we saw, that the lady was like, that looks like that could be a face going through Jenny Wade's birth house.
Yeah,
it might have just been a reflection from, you know, a car. You never know.
Right.
So I don't hold as much into that, but it was just, that was kind of us starting. And then the second night we did one of the groups does an in tour of the orphanage. And you got to actually go into it. They gave you history of it. You could take any of your, if you had any equipment or anything, which we bought an EMF detector while we were there, and we took it in with us. And
we'll be back after a quick break.
Are you tired of toxic people on the internet?
Yes.
I'm Reagan.
And I'm Chesco.
And we are the hosts of the Mr. Pick-Me and the Man-Hater podcast. These nicknames were lovingly given to us by a troll on the internet, even though I don't hate men, and Chesco's already been picked.
Together, we discuss some of the absolutely worst people on the internet and laugh along the way and try not to cry.
So if you want to laugh with us,
or cry,
then check out the Mr. Pick-Me and Man-Hater podcast. Bye.
Bye.
Every single type of ghost hunting equipment, every little bit of it can be debunked.
Yeah.
Every bit. However, when you get so many pieces of those equipment together and you're getting so many things all at once, then you might have something, but still
kind of hard to debunk if you're getting 3 or 4 pieces of equipment reacting at the same time, or
you know, it's harder to debunk. It's still debunkable, but it's harder to debunk.
Like we got we went out after you do the orphanage, they take you outside and you end up on a wall next to the cemetery that's near there, the big soldier cemetery.
Yeah.
And I had my arm over the rock wall. So there's nothing around besides stones on the other side. And it was spiking to red. And it was consistently nothing around. I don't know what it was, but
being outside like that, you know, I discredit when they're like, oh, we're in this house that people still live in and this EMF is going crazy. It's like, yeah, there's electrical running through that house. Like, that's going to make it spike.
Outside and over stone.
Yeah.
We're getting red, all the way up to red spikes where there wasn't anything.
There wasn't anything around. You know? It's just for a good couple, I don't know, minute and a half, it was just going crazy. And then it stopped.
Pictures of Lori looking at me like,
I'm like,
what the heck?
Do you see this? The shit's lighting up. Yeah, it was neat.
So getting into it, you know, for the first time, like, did you freak out when the equipment started reacting to things, your first investigation, or were you looking for it?
No.
So what I think you agree. What gave us really gave us the bug. So inside the orphanage, the orphanage in Gettysburg. I really don't know how much you want me to depress your listeners.
Yeah.
But the amount of tragedy that happened inside of this orphanage. Oh my God.
It's horrendous.
Yeah.
But sitting inside, I just had this overwhelming feeling, just emotional inside this place. And the woman who ran the orphanage in the during the time period was just so abusive and would just torture those poor kids and put them in situations to kill them, and got away with it. Was just horrendous. But even in that situation inside that house, I did not get a sense of like feeling overwhelmed with like negativity necessarily,
Malicious or anything.
and like no malicious like intent. It was more just emotion. So it wasn't anything scary. When with the equipment that we were using, the hardest part was hearing like the sounds of kids, screaming and crying and
Calling out for mom.
calling out for
Mom and dad.
Yeah,
It was just heartbreaking.
That was hard. So, being a grown ass man, I mean, that broke me. It brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah.
That was rough.
yeah.
That was hard.
Like, there's not. I don't want to say there's not a lot that freaks me out when it comes to that stuff, because I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure the house I grew up in, my parents' house, was haunted. But I think it was my grandfather passed away when I was 5, because I had a buddy who was into the paranormal, and this was well before anything was really super big into the paranormal. And he had a little couple pieces of equipment, some now I can't even think of the word. Oh my God, I know this stuff. A spirit box. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like one of the first spirit boxes, and we just had it sitting in my basement. We turned it on, and we just completely forgot it was on. We just started doing whatever we were doing at 17, 18 years old, whatever 18-year-olds do, we were doing that stuff. And then all of a sudden we just hear the word podunk come from the spirit box. And my grandfather had always said that I was a podunk from willy-nilly and I smelled like cat pee. That was his kind of joke that we'd always had. He'd always called me a podunk. Like stuff like that. That's not pre-programmed word.
No.
Like
the same
these
way,
things,
bro. What are you talking?
like it was just like to hear that. And then another thing, it just came up and it said spider behind. And I was like, what the fuck does spider behind mean? Like, and I turned around, and on my phone charger, there was a spider laying on top of my phone charger. That was right behind me. So I was like, all right, we're done. I'm going to get out of here for a second or two and just let this cool off. But, just hearing those few things, like I think people get the idea, like if something's haunted, oh my God, it's malicious. It's a demon. It's this, it's out to hurt you. Like, do you get that feeling when you're going into places like, okay, there's malicious intent behind this. This feels darker, or is it just you have to let the equipment tell you?
Yeah, I can tell you that. So
the bridge.
When we went to the Saks Bridge there in Gettysburg, the next day when we went to leave.
Yeah.
So Saks Covered Bridge there in Gettysburg, it was a completely different feeling when we went to leave. The legend is, they hung Confederate soldiers on that bridge as a warning,
not to come across.
Yeah, and there hundreds of soldiers marched back and forth, both Union and Confederate, and immediately with the equipment we were using, we would get leave, go, run. Like they wanted us gone. Like there was no playing around. Like you get some of the places that we've gone, you get some messages like they want us gone. Like, but this was like, no, they weren't. They weren't messing around. They weren't just gone. Right?
Yeah, I'm asking. You get leave. No, you want us to leave? Run. Who needs to run? Or did you run? Or do we need to run? You run now. And I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I'm not running.
But then you combine that with. So, like I said, I did some more reenacting back in the day. So, walking across this bridge, out of the corner of my eye, I see a Confederate soldier walking up around the bend. I see what he's wearing, head to toe, gray. See the red that he's wearing. I could draw you a perfect picture. And I think, when I look over, oh, hey, there's a reenactor walking up my way. I don't hear any gravel moving on the road, nothing. But I look over real quick, and there's nothing there.
Huh.
But me being the objective individual that I am, it's either A, that's my mind playing tricks on me, or B, I saw something out of the corner of my eye that I wasn't supposed to see. You know? So that was a very
it was a heavy presence feeling.
Very, very heavy. Get the hell out of there feeling at that bridge.
We didn't stick around at that one long.
No.
Yeah,
that was a go.
We're gonna hit that one when we go back this coming year.
Yeah, they want us to leave, so we're going back.
Yeah, we're gonna go back. And we're coming back with.
They want us out of here. I'm coming back, just so you guys.
And
know.
we're bringing other people.
That's right. We're bringing more.
We're bringing more people with us.
You're bringing reinforcements to the war.
Yeah, but most of the time it's not an evil feeling. It's usually just it's just more of.
Is it aggressive?
I don't know, huh?
Is it aggression or aggressive?
Yes, it comes across.
It comes across very aggressive.
When it comes to anything, quote unquote demonic, like if there's rumor of anything demonic, I don't.
No,
I don't. I'm a God-fearing individual.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in God, so therefore, if I believe in God, the devil exists too.
Right.
So
I don't mess with that.
I don't deal with that.
Yeah. I don't understand these people and these investigators that like seek out these demonic places. Like, why?
We also we're also very respectful. Like, nothing is more irritating, I think, when we watch the ghost shows to the people that are exceptionally rude
and
demanding and provoking. We try to be exceptionally polite and let them know, we don't mean disrespect. We don't mean harm. We're just curious, and I'll let them know if there's something they want to ask us,
Yeah. And there's a lot. I mean, there's so many different types of hauntings. There you have your residual haunts that are just.
It's the same thing over and over.
If you think of like a tape player just replaying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have your intelligent haunts that you can actually interact with.
Right.
The intelligent haunts, they know what's going on, where your residuals have no clue. It's just replaying the same thing over and over.
Yeah, it's like having your Spotify on repeat.
Exactly.
I was going to say iPod. I didn't want to show my age that much. You have your iPod on repeat.
So when we came back and when we found out about the infirmary here in town,
it was a must.
God, I love that building, but when we started going in there, the stuff that we started getting hits on, so we started getting some names coming through. There was the name of Harold that was coming through.
Harold came through frequently,
and at first, so there's a morgue area, and quite frequently it would start on that level,
that bottom floor where the morgue is.
We would start hearing his name, Harold, and at first we thought it was probably a creepy old man because
he knew he would say my name on a regular basis.
Oh,
as pretty and all types of things. So probably a creepy old man, right?
Until we
kept going back and back and back and back.
And we'd interact with him if you'd hear Harold, or you'd ask, who am I speaking with? And you'd get Harold. We would try to start communicating more. And 2 times before when we were there, we had actually split, and we had a group of friends that went with us. So he went with one group and I went with the other. And on that bottom level, there's a room that is kind of set up like a dining room. and we get a lot of stuff in that area. It's right across from the morgue. And Harold had been talking to us. We found out that Harold's not a creepy old man. Harold is 4.
Harold is 4. Okay.
Harold is 4. We've asked on a couple visits now. Brandon, this last time, actually got to interact with him. Asked the same style of questions that I had asked the first time and got the exact same answers from him. So he's 4.
So he remembers Lori because, so the infirmary, I'm gonna beat back it up here a little bit.
Okay.
So the infirmary is the area. It originally was known as the poorhouse. So you had individuals who were mentally insane. You had people who were sick, who were dying, orphans,
the poor that had nowhere to go.
Just had nowhere to go. Everybody
in
like
this one building
just came into this one building, right?
Just a perfect storm of people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They had a wing on the 4th floor that housed not just an orphanage, but on that same floor, when you come out and up a couple steps, the rest of that area is where they held the people who were mentally unwell, and they would chain them to the walls. Like the hooks and everything are still there. So
original hooks.
While you have mentally ill people screaming, you have the orphanage right on the same floor with these young kids hearing this on a daily basis. Like, it's just horrifying.
So yeah, if these kids were hearing that on a daily basis, like, what did that do to them while they were there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so Lori was one of the things that we got out of Harold is Lori reminds Harold of his mom.
Oh, okay.
So that's why he kind of latched on to her and remembers her every single time we go in and interacts with her.
We had gotten an EVP the time before of a young boy's voice. I had gotten a Terrifier plush purse, little backpack, and I wore it with me because I was like, oh, it's kind of like plushy. And when we did the orphanage section, we got a lot of hits. EMF thing went crazy. And I thought I heard whispering. Well, when our son went through the tape and stuff, we actually got an EVP of a young boy's voice saying mom.
Oh,
so we think that might have been Harold. So this last time, Brandon got to experience talking with Harold. And I had taken him presents.
The same day, though, that we got the mom EVP, when we were walking into the orphanage wing, it was extremely. It was weird though. When we walked into, you got to kind of step down into that area, and it sounded like I heard a child laugh when we walked into that area. Now there are other people in the building at the time, so
okay.
Take
that as you will. Yeah,
could be
right. But it was weird because it sounded like it was boom right there, but we were the only ones in that little section in that little area. But the floorboards beneath us moved as if kids were running across them.
So it wouldn't have been like it was your feet causing them to move in that way.
Because
we were standing still listening.
We heard the out of body like voices, the laughter. We stopped. Like, oh my God, do you hear that?
We were listening for anybody else on that floor, and there wasn't anybody on the 4th floor.
Like the kids were running out of the orphanage, like boom, we're bolting, we're gone. Like, I have no idea how to explain that. No clue. Yeah. I'm suspending all types of judgment. I'm not saying it was ghost. I don't know what the hell it was.
It's just unexplained.
Yeah.
It was freaky. I don't know how to explain it, but it was weird because I could feel the floorboards beneath me moving as feet felt like they were running out of the orphanage.
Yeah, that's. I feel like a lot of the paranormal needs to be just classified as, well, this is unexplained.
Yeah.
This not saying it's paranormal. WTF, WTF, absolutely. there's things that happen in the Fixer Upper house that we're currently in. I know we were talking about this before the show. I talked about it a little bit on the Halloween episode. We were talking about all things spooky, but yeah, again, I don't know if it's me or what, but like the house that we're in is haunted, for lack of a better term. We hear people walking around. It sounds like they're walking with a cane. Upstairs, the previous owner walked with a cane. He passed away in the house. His wife passed away in the house. And we know this because it was our neighbor right across the street, his mom. So it was her house. And she was here a lot. And, she told us that they passed away in the house. A rocking chair on our sun porch, we hear it creaking in the middle of the night and in the morning, especially in the morning, because they did tell us that he liked to sit on that sun porch in his chair and drink his coffee. And we hear our rocking chair you hear it creaking. And at first we're like, oh, well, it's at first it almost sounds like a bird chirping outside. So summertime, springtime, we're like, it's birds. That was what we originally went to. And then we saw the chair moving. Was it windy? We have our windows open. We're windows open kind of people in nice weather. We don't run AC if we don't have to. Essentially, we don't have AC in this house. That's another thing that needs fixed in this house, is there's no AC. So that couldn't have been that. And the noises upstairs at first were like, well, we have 4 cats and a husky. So one of the animals are up in our son's room messing around, getting something that they shouldn't be doing or shouldn't be getting. So, we have asshole animals that don't listen to anything. And we heard it one night. We're like, oh, who the hell's up there? And we looked, and all of our animals were in the room with us, and our son wasn't home. It was just my wife and I. So is it a haunting, or is it just something that we can't explain right now? That's kind of where we're at with it.
But do you feel, hypothetically speaking, if it is a haunting, do you feel like it's malicious? Do you feel,
I would say we don't feel
scared by that?
We're not scared by it.
Okay.
We yell at it a lot. We yell at it a lot sometimes, because there's sometimes like, it's like, all right, time to chill. Like, lay your old ass down. Like, it's not like we're relaxing, just stop. And
Dude's
like
just in his rocking chair and enjoying his best afterlife.
Yeah. And so it's not that. The only thing that kind of bothers us, I guess, a little bit is my wife will wake up with scratches on her. And that's the part that we're not cool about. And my wife, she bruises like a peach as it is. So we take that into consideration. She does a lot of heavy lifting and stuff at work. It's like, well, we try to debunk it, I guess. Well, did you hit something at work? Did you run into something when you're lifting a box? Did you catch a corner or something, And she says no. But and it just seems to be geared towards her with that part of it. But other than that, like, we don't feel threatened by it. They're just here, and we're in their house, essentially. And I think the footsteps upstairs are more residual because it's the same time.
I was gonna say, it sounds
every day.
That sounds very residual if it's the same type of thing that you're hearing in the same location.
Same location, same almost pattern that you could hear him kind of walking in. The one thing we heard was a big thud, like somebody fell out of a bed. That was the only thing that we heard differently. We don't know how he passed away. He was older. We don't know if he fell out of the bed after he passed or anything, but we hear, and it's just a big, and you hear him, like, I say him, I think it's him, hit the ground. But I don't know. I don't know how to explain that to people, and trying to explain it to somebody who has, like, they don't believe in the paranormal. They don't believe in that. They look at me like, oh, Bono's crazy. Okay, cool. Like,
it's hard to talk about any of this to anybody who doesn't believe it.
Yes.
They immediately just look at you like you're a freaking idiot,
Yeah. Like, our front door slammed closed one day. Like, it and it's a heavy ass door, and it takes a lot like to actually push to get it to latch shut. And it was completely open and completely closed and latched itself shut. Like that stuff. It's like, why are you slamming doors? Like we try to interact.
Bills in this house, bro?
Yeah, dude, you don't pay the bills in this house anymore, motherfucker. Like, this isn't your house anymore. Stop slamming doors. I'll take the fucking door off the hinges. I swear to God, I will. I'll treat you like a child. My son doesn't have a door because he slammed a door once and took his fucking door. So, yeah, like we interact with it that way, but it seems like when we interact, that it stops. Do you guys get that on investigations? Like, okay, we're getting stuff now. We're trying to interact, and then just stops.
Sometimes
it depends. Like, so I would love to be able to just go into a location and have it to ourselves. Unfortunately, we don't have that ability because we're poor.
Yeah, most of those places are quite pricey.
Yeah.
To rent for a few hours in the evening.
Like this last time we went, and when we're in the spot, we start getting interaction with Harold. Right? We went in like the last time beforehand. Harold asked for a picture book. Like he wanted us to bring him a picture book. So we brought him a book for like a 4-year-old.
Clifford,
the Big Red Dog book.
One of those real thick, chunky books, and a little stuffed animal.
We brought that in and to try to interact with them. But there were so many people this last time that anytime more individuals started coming down towards our area, wherever we were interacting with, like
communication
stopped. What's also interesting, we have been able to get communication back that there is almost like a handler of Harold. It's either Marie or Maria. I'm pretty sure it's Marie.
I think it's Marie. We've gotten both, but typically it's Marie.
She looked after Harold from that time period, and
she calls him.
Yeah, she will call for him, and she will interact. Like but whenever, like when we're asking, like we ask him to count, he's 4. Like, Harold, you're 4. Can you count to 4? And we will hear Maria's voice come back, telling him to listen and to count.
And then
we will hear him start counting 1, 2, 3, 4.
Does it always end at 4?
I'm sorry?
Does it always end at 4? Does he only ever get to 4?
We've only done that this last time.
Yeah, this last time.
Yeah. Okay.
We haven't. It was so busy that we didn't get as much quiet time with him.
That we were able to, the last few times that we've been there, we've been able to get back his name Harold and his age 4 every time, multiple times.
Yeah.
So it's not just, hey, this is a fluke. This is
consistent.
This is a consistent, and it's a same sounding voice that sounds like a child, like a boy child.
Because there will be multiple voices coming through all at the same time.
An adult sounding female that has like an English sounding.
She has an accent.
That helps handle him and watch after him. But he is. You can definitely tell. You'll hear adult male voices come through that'll talk over him and try to take over conversations. But you can tell Harold is a smaller child boy,
and he's wanting to talk.
Yeah. But there are times like when we went out. Okay, we're done in this area, Harold. We're going to walk around this other area. If you want to come with us, you can. So, to prove that he was with us at the end of this book, he had me read that. He wanted me to read the book. He asked me to read the book to him, the Clifford
book.
Big Red Dog. Yeah.
It ends with
Wolf.
Wolf means that Clifford
likes you.
That was the end of the book, right?
Yeah.
And then we started getting Wolf coming back to us through our equipment.
So we would,
Like,
when we would walk
what are the
places,
freaking odds in that?
you'd ask, Harold, are you with us? And sometimes you would get yes and his name. Sometimes it was yes, I'm here, and then you get yes, wolf, wolf.
Yeah, wolf, wolf. Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, good.
No other time have we ever.
I've never gotten wolf before.
But we were getting wolf, wolf this time after he had.
After you read the book, yeah,
and in multiple locations in the building, multiple floors.
So it wasn't like it was in the orphanage portion of it. It was in other places.
Even when we read to him, it was down in the little dining spot. Because that's supposedly he says
multiple areas.
That's where his favorite spot is.
Favorite spot, he'll go to multiple areas. That's where he feels safest. Not necessarily the orphanage. That's the dining areas where he
just
feels
that
safest.
area.
That bottom level.
But when we were like, okay, we're going to go to other areas. You're welcome to come with us, to follow us. And he would respond with letting us know he was there with Wolf.
Yeah.
And then we would hear Maria's voice coming through, this almost British sounding adult female.
Yeah.
Coming through, talking as well. Almost like she was kind of guiding him and helping.
She was the handler, right? Or the caretaker. I don't want to say handler is the right word.
She watched over him. I don't know if she was a nurse or if she... we did learn that a lot of the people that came to the infirmary had to work, whether it was they had a specific job or they had to help take care of people in the orphanage or in the infirmary orphanage that could not take care of themselves. So Marie might have been there for some reason, and maybe her job was taking care of some of the kids.
Right.
That couldn't take care of themselves because they were too young.
There is a psychic that pops in every now and then.
He's gotten Harold.
No clue if he just pulling her leg or if he's 100% legit. I have no clue. We asked him if he's gotten that name, and he said that yes, he's 100%.
Marie, he didn't recognize.
Yeah, he didn't recognize Marie,
but he has heard Harold. And the lady that helps run it said that she's gotten at least 2 other people have mentioned that name before, but they didn't know. No one's mentioned like how old he is, if it's a kid or an adult, just that they've gotten the name Harold on one of their investigations. So,
okay. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot to, say and try to debunk in that whole cabicum of a story there, that's stuff that I would like to see and experience. I guess I've always been into the paranormal. I've always believed in the afterlife, if you will. Now I know a lot of people say, well, this followed me home. Are you guys worried that when you go on these investigations, especially going to the same place multiple times and telling Harold, hey, you could come with us and follow us, do you worry about him following you home?
I haven't been worried about that at all.
Did I just create a new fear for you? Or
no, honestly, you didn't. I haven't been afraid of that at all. I mean, in all honesty, I haven't invited that. We haven't invited that to come home with us.
Yeah, just to walk around the hall
as well. Like there is literally zero. Like all of the equipment that we have does not turn on in the house.
Yeah.
Period.
We don't use it here. We won't turn it on here.
Nope.
We won't, mess around just to see what's here. Like, no, we don't.
We do not.
Don't want to know what's in the house.
Nope.
No, don't.
Nope.
No.
I mean, my mother has passed on, and quite frankly, I really don't want to know about in all the ways I've disappointed her. So.
Okay.
Yeah. I wait for that day. If when mom passes on, it's not going to be for a while. I don't think you could kill this woman. Geez, yeah. But I know, I always say, I make the joke. I believe I did it at the show that you two were at the Attic in Columbus. that, thank you for applauding for what my parents are ashamed of. In doing stand-up comedy. It normally gets at least a chuckle at the beginning. But yeah, I don't want to know what she would have to say. Well, what are you going to do now? I'm dead now. I'm just following you, and I'm just going to tell you all the ways that what you're doing is wrong. And so, yeah, I don't want to know. And like do you have like, do you use like the spirit boxes, like the apps on your phone? Do you believe in like the apps on the phone?
We mix them up. So like we use one on our phone. And a lot of times we'll do I guess it's the Estes method, where you do the headphones and you can't hear what the other person's asking and you are just repeating what you're hearing. Mm-hmm. So we did that in that dining room a couple times previous, with Austin and Brandon. So Austin was using Austin had an actual like standalone spirit box.
Okay.
Brandon was using something on an app. And then I ended up kicking my app on and he was using an Ovilus, and we were getting similar results come through at the same time on all three devices within seconds of each other.
When you're getting results to answer a direct response to a question on three separate devices at the same time.
Yeah, that
was a little different.
Yeah.
That's a little different.
We try to switch it up. Like we'll use one for a little bit and then we'll switch to a different to see
not
if we're getting anything.
You can't prove one thing one way or another, but it's pretty damn creepy. And boy, that's a hell of a coincidence, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I get. And do you guys ever want to? And we'll kind of get ready to wrap this up here soon. I didn't realize we were talking for almost an hour now.
Is it really?
We started a little after 7 to get the recording. It's almost 8. So I didn't realize it. I don't care. It's my show. I'll make it as long as I want to make it. But you're the boss. You're the boss. Yeah, I am the boss. But
unless your wife's around.
Yeah, she's in the kitchen. Yeah. She hears all of this. She knows. She married the comedian, and I'm going to say some off the wall shit, and it's just going to happen. But have you ever wanted to do like an overnight investigation?
Yes.
Oh, that's the dream, man.
Yeah, we want to get a group of people together because one, it's better if you can split and have like groups of 2 or 3 in multiple areas to span out. And two, if you have multiple groups going, it helps be able to fund an overnight because those are typically pricey because you can split them. So
and then we're also, constantly buying more and more and more and more equipment.
Yeah.
So, the more equipment
piece by piece.
Have, as we get it piece by piece, it's just more things to validate everything that we have and experience. That's it's harder. The more things that happen all at once, the harder it is to debunk. Although there's still hellacious coincidences happen, but damn, is it hard to debunk them all at once?
Yeah,
but it's still it's still plausible. I guess.
You guys are going to have to come with us on one of them.
Oh, yeah.
We definitely want to. Like I told Whitney that you guys were doing that. And I told her, I was like, they invited us on. She's like, oh, wish I didn't have to work. Like we definitely would have been like, and we just, when you asked us, it was like, fuck, like I wish it would have worked out.
Yeah, we're usually, depending on how much we're getting hits on, and that too. We don't usually stay real late.
I would say I did. Have you guys ever been to the Moundsville Penitentiary? We'll end on this. It is amazing, and I know back in college they used to. I don't know if they still do it anymore, but they had an overnight tour to where they took you through in the daytime. They had a guide show you like all the parts of the prison, tell you the history behind it, and you got to experience that. They told you what places not to go to, and places you weren't allowed to go to. And then once the sun went down, they were like, all right, we'll see you in the morning. And they leave, and then you're just free to roam the prison.
We want to do that with Mansfield.
I love to do that.
I did that. I did not make it the entire night. I'll tell you this, because it's creepy in there. Like, it's like during the tour, like, they'll lock you in a cell just to get the feeling. Jesus Christ. Because one of my cats scares the hell out of me. We're talking about a paranormal jumping on a box behind me.
I didn't see any of that.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's just with the background. It just, oh my God.
That's fantastic.
Perfect timing for that too as well. And
I know.
anyways, but didn't like that feeling being that I was getting in the cell, but went around as long as I could, and then I just kind of felt like my skin was crawling being in there, and I didn't like it. They have a guy that sits by the door in case anybody, either gets sick or, really just can't handle the whole overnight tour. And I was one of those guys just banging on the door like, all right, I'm done. Like, I can't handle it anymore. I want out of here. And that was just the feeling in there. But it's a fun experience to even just hear the history about it. But there is still, to this day, I'm 35 years old, and they talked about one cell, but they would not tell you whose cell it was. I have a feeling it was Manson's mom, because it was a pink cell. The walls were still painted pink to this day. And she was there, and he was there. But they will not, even if you say, even when you say, like, oh, was this Manson's mom's cell? We don't know. Is the answer. It's like, you
just told me.
It's a pink. It's the only pink cell here. Like, the walls are painted pink, and there's like graffiti still on it and everything. But I mean, it's a cool place to go and see. I recommend it for everybody. I'm biased. I grew up 20 minutes away from Moundsville in West Virginia in the penitentiary, but yeah, it's an awesome experience if you guys are into it and you guys can. And even for the overnight, wasn't that expensive. I mean, that was way back in the day when I was in college, but still, it might not be that bad. It might be something to look into, something that maybe you guys can dip your feet into the overnight tours.
Yeah, bucket list is doing Mansfield overnight and doing Waverly Hills.
Oh, Waverly Hills.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's a bucket list.
That's definitely, yeah.
That's a big one.
That's I say that's a big one. That's a biggie.
Yeah.
For sure.
You got to work up to that.
Yeah.
That's a big boy.
Absolutely. But all right, guys, we do have to wrap the show up. I can sit here and talk about this all night with you guys.
Real quick, if it's all right, I want to give a quick shout out to
absolutely
Jason Staples, wishing him a quick and speedy recovery from surgery.
Yep, absolutely. I know we talked about this via text before. I'm so glad you reminded me because I already forgot about it. But yeah, Jason Staples, we used to work together. Hope you have a speedy recovery,
yes,
and that you're getting better. Prayers are with you, my guy. So,
yeah, we love you, bro.
Yep,
absolutely. But on that note, that is actually going to do it for this week's episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. I want to thank my guest, Ellen B. Spizzle. That is not going to be your guys' name from now on. There's no other name. I'm not calling you anything else other than that name.
But any other way.
Nope.
Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for being on. As always, if you enjoyed the show, be a friend, tell a friend. If you didn't, tell them anyways. They might like it just because you didn't. That's going to do it for me, and I will see y'all next week.
The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Dubby Energy. Energy drinks made for gamers, streamers, and podcasters alike. For gamers, streamers, and podcasters alike. Go to the link in the description where you can find the best energy drinks out there. Less caffeine than a cup of coffee. Also, no jitters and no crash afterwards. Use the promo code Mike Bono and get yourself 10% off. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by my favorite sponsor of the show, and that is Shankit Golf. Golf apparel made for the everyday golfer. We might not go out and shoot a 6 under par. We're probably going to shoot a 6 over par, but this is going to give us the gear that's going to help us rock it on and off of the course. Go to the link in the bio, use the promo code Mike Bono, and get yourself 10% off there as well.